Now that we have downloaded our SketchUp file, our goal is to learn about the platform and understanding how to build our wall with windows. To do that, we're going to go into our Google Classroom, and in the assignment week 9, wall with windows information, the image is going to provide you with the information you need. Things you need to know already off the bat from our last assignment is that our first stud from the edge, first stud to the first edge, the first stud over is 15.25. Moving forward, it will be 16 on center. So let's go ahead and start with our bottom plate, and we're going to draw and start here. Our bottom plate will be 3.5 inch by 1.5 inch. So let's go ahead and start that. The first thing to do is to draw from this corner, drag it over to the edge, drag it into the green and type in 3.5, which is representation of inches. We're going to bring it back this way on the red and close it off. This will be our first component. To make a component similarly to our last project, you're going to double click in the surface, right click and say make component. Make sure this check mark is checked. If not, that won't be a component. That's very, very important. Say create. Now, if you want to edit a component, you already know this. Double click into the component. You're going to be able to enter that space. Use P for push and pull, or the icon is right here. Click once, let go of the mouse, and move it up vertically. Type in 1.5, which is inches. Press enter. And now you're going to have your bottom plate. From there, we're going to go back and forth between our information sheet and then moving forward. So let's build the first stud, which is going to be 8 feet tall. So let's start from this corner here. So I'm gonna take the line tool. You know that this is gonna be 3.5 inch, therefore the opposite side will be 1.5 inches. So 1.5, enter, drag it back down onto the green, close it off, and you're gonna have yourself a surface. Double click that surface, right click and say make component. This will be our first stud. Double click into that component, use the push and pull, click once, move it up, and it's gonna be 8 feet according to the diagram. All right, we have our first stud. As you know, the first stud on the outside, the second stud, we had to measure from the outside to the outside, and it's 15.25 inches. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw the line as my guideline. Click once, move it over to the right hand side here, type in 15.25, and the bottom information will give you that information. So it's 15.25. Let's go ahead and do that again. 15.25. We got the bottom right hand corner. You should see that. Press enter, and that will give you your guideline. We're going to make a copy of this object by using the selection tool or spacebar. Select the object, press M for move, option to make copy. A little plus sign will appear on the move tool. And you're going to grab it from the outside over to the edge, just like that. The rest of our stud will be 16-inch on center. So we go back to our diagram. We have one stud, two stud, three, four before we hit the king stud. So we're going to make 1, 2, 3, 4 stud, which is the last one for our king stud. Let's do 4 of those on center. Take the line tool. From the middle of our second stud over, it will be 16 inches. Press enter, drag it over like that. Press M for move, option to make copy. Grab it from the center here and make a copy. Oh, let me do that again. Press option, a little plus sign will appear. Then click from the center and drag it over. I'll do that again. Line tool. Click once, drag it over this way. Type in 16, enter, drag the line up onto the green. Now I'm going to move this. I'll make a copy of that over. So M for move, option will, little plus sign will appear. Click in the center because it's 16-inch on center. So we got 2 done. We need 2 more. M for move, actually draw a line first from the center, drag it over 16 inches, draw it onto the green, select the option you want to make copy, press M for move, option to make copy, and drag it over this way. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see how many we need. I think we need 1 more. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th one will be our king stud. Let's go ahead and dive in 1 more. Take the line tool, click me over 16, enter, drag it up. Now we're gonna have ourselves our last stud, which will be our king stud on the outside. Okay, now that we have our king stud set up, this is where the window frame will begin. You know here it says that this window over here from this outside this king stud to the outside of the second king stud will be 4 feet apart. And it's going to be from this edge to this edge. So what I'll do is I'll make that next king stud 4 feet apart. from the right hand side of the left king stud to the right hand side of the left king stud. So let's go ahead and drive into that and take the line tool from the right hand side and draw 4 feet over, draw a line across this way, and then I'll make a copy from this edge over to that edge. Remember, it has to be from the right edge because we want to enclose that from the right hand side. So info move, option to make copy, grab it from the left hand side bottom here, drag it over this way. Now we have ourselves our opening. So that's going to be the two king studs. Let's go back into our diagram to take a look at what's going on. We have the bottom, we're gonna have our jack stud. Let's build from the bottom up. So we have our jack stud, which is the lower portion of our jack stud, which is going to be 2 feet tall. So let's start with that one. We're gonna make a copy to make this one, find the center, and then 16 inch over to the left and right. Let's do that now. And it's gonna be 2 feet tall. So let's go ahead and make a new stud, which is gonna be 3.5 by 1.5 here. 1.5, enter, drag it back down to the green, close it off, double click that, right click, make that a component. And make sure that's checked, we say create, and we know that that's gonna be 2 feet, so I'm gonna double click that, press it up by 2 feet. All right, we got our first jack stud, which is right here. Now let's make a copy of that over this way, and then we're gonna be able to find the center of that. So let's go ahead and do that now. Take this object, and for move, option to make copy, grab it from here now, drag it over to here. Then we're gonna find the center cripple stud, the center of this area. To do so, all we need to do is take the line tool, click from this point all the way to this point. That will allow us, when we move it over, to find the center. So I'm gonna take the move tool option. I can grab this one or this one, but I'm gonna grab it from the middle now and slide it over. It should automatically snap to the center. There it is. All right, now that we have the center, it will be 16 inch from there to the right, 16 inch to the left. Take the line tool from the center, drag it over this way, 16, enter, find the endpoint, there it is, drag it over this way. That's our first guideline. I'm gonna make a copy of that now. And for move, option make copy, grab our cripple stud, click that, drag it over to the midpoint of that. I will do the same thing on the left hand side. Click once from the center, move it over, 16, enter, find the green, there it is, that's the endpoint, drag it up. Now make a copy of this center of this cripple stud over that way as well. And for move, option to make copy and grab that over. All right, now that we have our jack stud done, our cripple stud done, let's see what's next. Right above our jack stud and also our bottom cripple stud will be our seal. And our seal is going to be from the edge to the edge, which is very simple. We can actually draw that and make that a component. Take the line tool, trace the border of this whole thing, and turn it into a surface. Let's double click that, right click, make it a component. We know that this is 3.5 inches, meaning we're gonna pull this up 1.5 because that's our actual size for the stud. Double click, P for push and pull, click once, move it up 1.5, and we're gonna have our seal. Let's see what else is on our diagram. The next item is gonna be the center jack stud, and it's gonna be 4 feet tall. We're gonna make that 4 feet tall, then we'll throw in the header. Let's do that now. Alpha line, click here, drag it over 1.5 this direction. You should know this by now. Drag it back, close it off. Double click this, right click, make it a component, and create. Now we can go inside of this component. We're gonna pull it up 4 feet. That's what the diagram told us to do, 4 feet. Now I have myself the center jack stud. I'm gonna make a copy of that onto the right hand side because we're gonna need one on the right hand side as well. And for move, option make copy, but I need to grab it from this point and not that point because we wanna move it from this point over to the edge so we know where it's at. All right, it's looking good. We almost there. We need now the king stud. The king stud is sitting above our center jack stud, and it is the opposite. Remember, we talked about this in class where we turn the 3.5 upward, and we need two of those because our king stud is carrying all the load that is coming down from our ceiling. So let's do that now. It's going to be from the outside, from here, over all the way through, and it's going to be 3.5 inch in width, so 3.5 inches. Enter, drag over this way, and close it off, you have a surface. I'm gonna go back this direction so I can make a component and pull it 1.5 inch the other way. I'm gonna double click this, right click, make it a component, create, double click inside the component, use the push and pull. We're gonna pull this over 1.5, 1.5, enter. All right. Now that I have one, all I need to do is just copy this over to this edge because we need two of those to combine to sandwich it to create more strength going downward. So M for move, option to make copy. I'm gonna grab it from this point here, bring it over to this direction. Now we have two header that is sitting on top of our middle jack stud. All right, let's see what is next. We now have essentially our top upper jack stud and also our top upper cripple stud. And the good thing is we don't need the measurement for this. We actually know that it goes from the bottom of this to the top of our stud. So simple enough. We're gonna make a line here over this way, bring it over this way 1.5 inches. So it's 3.5 by 1.5. We know this now. Double click that object, right click, make it a component. Say create. From that point, we're going to double click, use the push and pull it all the way up, and point at the tip of this here. It should snap automatically by clicking it. So one more time for those who didn't get it. I click it once, let go of the mouse. Do not click and hold. Move your mouse up and point at the tip of this and click it once. And that will set it in place. I'm going to click on the outside to deselect that particular object. I will do the same thing. Take this jack stud, bring it over, find the center, and do the same thing like the bottom. So I'm gonna make M for move, option to make copy, move it from this point over to this here, get the second stud, jack stud going, and I'm gonna find the middle. The only way to do that is to draw a line. Let's draw a line from here as well. All right, we got a line in there now. So we can grab from the center of this, move it to the center. So M for move, option to make copy, grab from the middle, move it over the center. It's just snap to the little midpoint, click it once, and now I got that. The next step is to go 16 inch over to the right, 16 inch over to the left from the center. So line from the center over 16 inches, which is the same thing as 16. Find the green endpoint, click it once, drag it over that direction. Grab the center one and for move, option to make copy. And you should be able to find that and drag it over like that. One more from the center to the left hand side, 16, enter. Find the green by just moving your mouse along the line. You should find the green, which is the endpoint. That's where your line belongs. I'm gonna click on the center now, grab the move tool, press option, grab the center, and drag it over, and you should have that. All right, it's looking really good. Our last thing to do is continue through using our king stud on the right hand side and make more common stud all the way to the edge. So from the center, 16 inch over. So here it is. Click once, drag it over, 16, enter, draw a line, and move option to make copy. You should be an expert with this tool by now. Find the center, drag a line over 16-inch, close it off, and move option to make copy, and grab from the center. All right, let's see how much space we have here. From the center over, we do 16, enter. Oh, look at that. See how it go past? And that's what you want to consider. If it's shorter than the 16-inch, all we need to do is take this object and copy it to the edge. And that's what we're going to do. And for move, option to make copy. Grab it to the edge and move it to the edge. And now we have ourselves our wall with a window. But we need one more item, and I think you guys guessed it already. It is going to be our top plate. To make a copy of the top plate, just simply copy the bottom plate. And for move, option to make copy, grab from the bottom here, and move it all the way up and snap it in there. Your goal by the end of this week is complete a wall with a window.